You've probably heard the phrase, "life is stranger than fiction." Fictional stories may seem surprising, but real events are sometimes so absurd and unbelievable that they seem like movie scripts. Today, I'm going to tell you 5 real stories that sound fake but are actually absolutely true. And if you watch to the end, the last story will make you reconsider what you think is possible. Let's start with a man who survived not 1 but 2 atomic bombs. His name was Tsutomu Yamaguchi. In August 1945, he was in Hiroshima on business, and at the very moment when the first atomic bomb in history was dropped on the city, he found himself at the epicenter of the disaster. He was thrown back by the blast wave, received burns, and miraculously survived. But the story did not end there. 2 days later, despite his wounds, he returned home to Nagasaki. It was there that the second atomic bomb was dropped on August 9th. And again, he survived the blast. He became one of the few people in history who are officially registered as having survived both atomic attacks. Later, he became an active participant in anti-nuclear movements and lived to a ripe old age. The next story also sounds like an absurd fairy tale. A goat is not just a pet, but a king. In the Irish village of Killorglin, every year there is a festival where a randomly chosen goat is awarded the title of King Puck. Seriously. The animal is officially crowned, given guards, dressed in a robe, and driven through the entire town in a carriage. All this is accompanied by an orchestra, speeches by officials, and even the participation of government representatives. And no one takes it as a joke. This is a centuries-old tradition, and the locals are proud of it. So if you thought that everything in politics is absurd, try fighting for the throne with a goat who already rules every year. And how do you like the idea that a dog has become the real mayor of the city? Yes, in Cormorant, Minnesota, USA, people were tired of standard elections. As a protest, they nominated a dog named Duke. People voted, and he really did become an honorary mayor. He wore a tie to all official events, was accompanied by his owner press secretary, and the media willingly interviewed him. Well, almost. This mayor was so popular that he was re-elected 3 times. No one argued with his decisions. The kindest, most honest, and fluffiest mayor in history. Now let's move on to one of the most honest but failed advertising campaigns in history. In 2020, Burger King wanted to show that their burgers are completely natural and without preservatives. And how did they do it? They filmed an ad where Whopper stood on the table for 34 days and became covered in real mold. The camera slowly showed how the delicious burger turned into a mushroom hell. The idea was to prove, look, our burger is spoiling, so it's chemical-free. But the audience took it completely differently. People said that they were disgusted, that they were literally sickened by food advertising. The brand received a wave of criticism, and thousands of memes and complaints appeared on social networks. As a result, the advertising campaign failed miserably, and Burger King lost millions of dollars. Perhaps sometimes too honest advertising is not the best strategy. And finally, a story about a man who literally erased his fingerprints. A man named Lin Yaojun from China worked in a chemical plant for many years. He did not use protective gloves, and aggressive substances gradually destroyed the skin on his fingertips. At some point, the fingerprints simply disappeared. He was arrested on suspicion of theft, but the police were unable to establish his identity based on biometrics. There were no fingerprints. He became one of the few who literally disappeared from the database. In the end, he was identified by other signs, but the case was so unusual that it ended up in medical journals and even in forensic collections as an example of how even biometrics can be imperfect. These are the stories. Absolutely real, absolutely ridiculous, absolutely unbelievable. Which one surprised you the most? Write in the comments. And if you are interested in such content, support the video. Because as we have seen today, fiction is nothing compared to what life does.